This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome to Chapter 1 of our series, Budgeting Beyond Basics, Financial Frameworks for Mastery. In this episode, titled Understanding Financial Frameworks, we're going to explore the essential components that make up a solid financial framework. So, whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your skills, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Right now, most adults in the US are doing everything right on paper, working, paying bills, yet still feel broke every month. Here's the twist. The problem often isn't how much they earn, it's that their money has no script. Today, we're going to change that. Most people try to be better with money by sheer willpower. Check the account less, stop ordering takeout, maybe open a savings account and hope it grows. That works about as well as just eat healthier without any plan, portions, or grocery list. You're motivated until the next busy day hits, then everything collapses back into habit. Financial frameworks step in where willpower taps out. They give your decisions a structure you can lean on when you're tired, stressed, or tempted. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" in the moment, the real question becomes, "What did I already decide this dollar is for?" In this episode, we'll unpack how simple rules like 50, 30, 20, zero-based budgeting, and envelope-style systems quietly shift your day-to-day choices, so your bank balance starts reflecting your priorities, not your impulses. Here's the catch. Most of us are already using a framework, we just don't realize it. Rent first, then cards, then whatever's left is a framework. Pay bills on payday and hope the rest lasts is a framework. They're invisible, automatic scripts you've absorbed from family, culture, or crisis moments, and they quietly decide where your money goes before you do. The goal today isn't to memorize rules, it's to surface the system you're already running. Once you can actually see your current pattern, you can keep what works, upgrade what doesn't, and plug in tools that make those upgrades stick. Here's where this gets practical. A good framework doesn't start with math, it starts with reality. First, there's where your money flows. Not categories in an app, actual destinations. One paycheck might hit a checking account, another lands in a joint account, a side hustle goes to PayPal, and a tax refund just sits in a random savings account. Each of those buckets often has its own unspoken rule. Checking is for surviving, the joint account is for serious bills, PayPal is fun money, refunds are emergency patch kits. Then there's when money moves. Maybe rent leaves on the first, subscriptions drip out all month, and debt payments cluster right before payday. If most of your obligations hit before your second paycheck, the end of the month will always feel tighter, no matter how much you earn. And finally, there's who gets paid first. Some people always overpay the credit card before anything else. Others keep utilities spotless, but chronically shortchange savings. Your priority order is a framework in disguise. Structured approaches simply make those three dimensions explicit. They decide in advance which account each dollar touches. They line up due dates and pay cycles so you're not ambushed mid-month. They lock in a priority stack. This, then this, then this, every time. That's why high earners still end up broke. If the who goes first rule is always lifestyle, restaurants, upgrades, nicer everything, income just scales the problem. Lifestyle creep isn't a character flaw, it's a predictable outcome of a framework that never reserves space for the future. On the flip side, rigid rules can backfire if they ignore your actual life. A single parent with volatile income in a high-rent city can't copy-paste someone else's percentages and expect calm. The point is not obedience to a template, it's consistency of your rules under stress. Think of designing your approach like mapping a hiking trail you'll walk every month. You choose the route, but once it's marked, you're less likely to wander off a cliff when the weather turns bad. You can see these ideas in the wild long before someone opens a budgeting app. A freelancer might mentally tag every third invoice as tax money and refuse to touch it. That's a self-made rule about who gets paid first. A couple might route one partner's paycheck to the mortgage and daycare, and the others to groceries and everything flexible. If a bonus shows up, it quietly defaults to travel, not debt. None of that lives in a spreadsheet, but it still steers behavior. Concrete examples from products make this clearer. YNAB doesn't just track spending, it forces every dollar to be spoken for, which is why their users often report big savings early on. Mint, at its peak, mainly reflected what already happened, yet millions stuck with it because even a rear-view mirror is better than driving blind. One helpful way to experiment is to label accounts by job, not bank name. Next month's bills, true emergencies, guilt-free fun, quarterly taxes. Your money starts to follow the names. If banks start auto-routing your cash, your rules become quiet settings in the background. The risk? Letting defaults harden into a life you didn't choose, like following a GPS so blindly you forget where you meant to go. The upside is huge. You'll be able to stress test your money life the way engineers test bridges, simulating job loss, pay raises, or a move before they happen, then tweaking your setup until your future feels less like guesswork and more like a draft you can keep revising. The next step isn't picking the perfect method, it's running small, low-risk experiments. Treat the coming month like a sketchbook page, not a final canvas. Try changing just one rule: who gets paid first, or when money moves, and watch what shifts. Over time, these tiny edits can redraw your financial story into something sturdier and more intentional. To go deeper, here are 3 next steps. 1. Open a free account with Portfolio Visualizer and plug in your current mix of assets, or a sample 60-40 stock-bond split, to backtest it over the last 20 years so you can see how your chosen framework actually behaved in different markets. 2. Grab a copy of The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel and, over the next week, read chapters 1 through 5 with a highlighter, specifically noting any stories that challenge the way you currently think about risk, safety, or enough. 3. Download the free Bogleheads Investment Philosophy PDF from bogleheads.org and compare its principles side by side with the framework from the episode, circling where they align and starring any places where you'd need to change your current accounts or funds to match. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!